Didgeridoo is an outdoor game to construct students' understanding of colonialism and the social justice issues surrounding Aboriginal culture. The purpose of this game is to integrate physical and mental training with Aboriginal history, culture, music, and to encourage students on their learning regarding the social justice issue and educational issues for groups of students within this learning activity. At the beginning of the game, the teacher stands at the centre of the students and plays an excerpt of Aboriginal music. Whilst the music is playing, 5 students are to run around the teacher until the music is suddenly stopped. When the music is suddenly stopped by the teacher, 4 students are to land on the 4 different coloured cardboards that are on the floor. These 4 cardboards display 4 different Australian animals, such as a wombat, possum, kangaroo, and koala. Along with this, the colours of the cardboard vary from red, yellow, orange, and green. As there are 5 students playing the game and only 4 cardboard squares for students to land on, this means that every round a student will miss out on being asked a question. In accordance with the colour of the cardboard and where each individual student lands, the teacher will ask each of the 4 students different categories of questions. The students are required to answer 4 different categories of questions relating to 4 areas of knowledge about Aboriginals. These 4 areas include history, culture, music, and physical health. The questions are also categorized differently dependent on how hard the question is. The questioning continues until a student has reached a certain number of questions correct for them to win the game.
When it comes to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, ACARA acknowledges a gap in the learning outcomes in comparison to the peers. The aim is to provide every opportunity to close the gap in the Australian curriculum. The Australian curriculum identifies 2 distinct needs for Indigenous Aboriginal education. These include Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students are able to identify themselves, cultures embedded to the curriculum, can participate fully in the curriculum, and build self-esteem. Secondly, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures are designed so that all students engage in reconciliation, respect, and recognition of one of the oldest continuing living cultures in the world. By examining these key concepts, our group has designed a game that is closely related to each of our KLAs, which include PDHPE and music. By constructing Didgeridoo, it creates the opportunity for students to learn and understand about the Indigenous culture in an engaging but yet creative approach. The outcomes for this game will allow students to value and reconcile one of the world's oldest cultures. Students will also be able to learn about the richness of Indigenous culture as well as their styles of living. This is important as it helps understand how Indigenous cultures maintain and promote health and safety well-being within their communities.
Post-colonialism can be best described as the change in the way people think and behave from a culture perspective. Therefore, from the Aboriginal perspective, when they were colonised, they lost their original cultural identity and were being forced to take up a white man culture. As the white man cultural values were totally different from that of the Aboriginal culture, they lost their cultural directions, and this contributed to their current low socio-economic position within the Australian society. The questions asked in Didgeridoo are derived to encourage students to understand how injustice can have a negative impact on a culture, and in this case the Aboriginal people. As noted by Dr. William Jonas, a life of opportunity and dignity, free from discrimination and disadvantage, should not be an ideal. It is, in fact, a basic human right, one that we all share in common. With Jonas' motion and the concepts of post-colonialism, the questions in the game are encouraging students to see development of Aboriginal culture from a post-colonialism perspective. This includes Australia's recognition of Aboriginal music, physical health, history and culture, and the associated lack of Aboriginal colours that are not included in the Australian flag. While these questions are general, they are the beginning to encourage students to think about the causes of post-colonialism and its effects on Aboriginals in terms of justice.